Nigel, I always wonder what do you say to someone who knows your background, knows your pedigree? Here you are as a well, as a human rights advocate, someone who's entered the political arena because you feel very strongly that it is important for you to use your experience and knowledge and so on to sort of chart a new course or a better course for the Guyanese people. What do you say to someone who looks at your upbringing and say, well, how does a privileged person um, enter this arena? What can he teach me who have not had access to much? You know.
Um, tough question as always, Selwyn. Let me say this:
Mm-hmm.
the sacrifice. I mean, I have um, clear historic knowledge of my great grandparents and what they were doing on both sides of the family. I also have great historic knowledge of what my maternal grandfather went through in terms of he was eventually became the first black postmaster general, but this was not until the British Guiana Civil Service had to march around the street to say to the colonialists, "Hey, this guy's the guy that should be appointed." So
Mm-hmm.
I have what he went through. Um, I have absolutely fantastic parents, and I will not deny that I had a privileged upbringing. Not for a second will I deny that, and not for a second would I wish that it was anything else, because I think the sacrifices that my grandparents and my parents went through was just for that, to be able to afford me the best they could afford me
Mm-hmm.
at the time they were here. Um, Now, in terms of how I relate that to somebody who may not have had that opportunity or experience, it would be a long story, because a lot of this goes back to what happened to me in university, what happened to me actually before university when we had Walter Rodney, what
Mm-hmm.
happened to me after I came back, because all of that was part of the metamorphosis. Because you run a really great danger when when you've been privileged enough to have had a life of considerable privilege to believe it's an entitlement. And that to me is the greatest danger you run, where you believe that this is an entitlement. And perhaps because in my life the persons who have been critical to my development at various stages have all been, how do I put it, women, particularly women from very, very humble origins, who've been absolutely fundamental. My mom had, I want to say, a domestic assistant. She was really my second mother. Enid.
He
Enid
did.
used to work with us in the house. And I can't tell you, Enid was my second mother. Enid is what in those days you probably would have called a maid, but Enid was like a mother. I grew up, she brought me up. And when I came back from university, I just felt so indebted to her for all that she had imparted in me,
Mm-hmm.
particularly when I went to university. I mean, all those experiences. I was fortunate enough to be able to build a house for her, because she didn't have a house. So I thought, good heavens, I am 20, whatever it is when I came back, 24. And this lady who was with me since I was 2 or 3 years old, who nurtured me along with my mother, didn't have a home. So it when you were confronted with that, I remember both of us had the absolute privilege of common entrance lessons with Nanny, Miss Edwards.
Mm-hmm.
Absolute rock. I mean, Nanny was. I mean, lessons on Saturday morning. I can't begin to tell you the life lessons that
Yes.
were learned sitting on a bench with her, with her ruler and whatever else she thought was appropriate to wrap you over the knuckles. But what I'm really, I perhaps inadequately trying to say is that one has to appreciate that privilege is not a right.
Mm-hmm.
It is exactly as it's defined. It's a privilege. And if you are afforded the opportunity of um, being able to advance in life, and I think the Guyanese saying is, "To whom much is given, much is expected,"
Mm-hmm.
then you owe it the next generation. It doesn't have to be your blood; it has to be whoever is in the next generation to impart some of the positive aspects of your life, some of your knowledge, some of your experience, so that the community grows, that it benefits from all that you've benefited from, all that you've been able to distill. And that, I suppose, is how I would inadequately put it. But I think that's how I try very inadequately, perhaps, to give back. But
To give
that's
back. Yeah.